Hey all, Pixel here, Improbable Garage. We're going to be working on the van. I'm planning to take it to the Van Nats this weekend, so I'm basically using that as an excuse to get a lot of little stuff done that I've been ignoring. Most of it's like aesthetic maintenance or updates or fixes or whatever. I'm not going to list them all off because I'm not sure how much I'm going to get to, but we're just going to get into it and I'll show you what I'm working on. Alright, one is I need to glue this back on. This little piece of trim just fell off one day and it's in the van, but I just need to get some glue and glue it back on again. Alright, there we go. I scuffed the backside of it just to get a better grip because the glue was very stuck to the plastic, but none was stuck to the metal. And then use a little bit of 5-minute two-part epoxy, and it's just taped because it was bent slightly, maybe from when it fell off or whatever. So the tape is there to just kind of suction it down while everything cures. And lo, the rains did come. I'm winded because I was rushing to get everything in, because there's a couple things that couldn't get wet. But yeah, it is pissing down. But I got those two tires clean. I don't know how obvious it was from the thing. The back one, I can't show you because rain. But the back one, just gave it a polish. That was pretty much okay. It's got a little bit more corrosion than I realized. So at some point I'm going to have to do a more thorough job on it, like with a machine tool or something, but I'm not going to do that today, obviously. The front, the gray didn't get as clean as I'd hoped, but I did improve it, and I polished the lip, which came up pretty nice, so I'm happy with that. I'm really glad I put tape on that thing, because it's going to hopefully keep the water out of the epoxy long enough for it to set up. But, hell. Because once I did the wheels, the plan for the next thing is to start taking some of the interior out. Obviously that's not going to happen. Can't really pull it in the garage because once I get it in the garage, it's going to take up too much space to work in the garage. So I'll pick this up when the rain stops. Alright, well the rain keeps stopping and starting, and so I'm just kind of doing what I can in between. I've pulled this door panel off because this lock mechanism doesn't want to work when the door panel's in, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of it is this being pushed out just enough that there's some friction happening against this plastic piece by that, but I'm lubricating everything in hopes that maybe that helps it enough that I can kind of compensate for that. Because this moves stiffly, but if I push the button, how's the button? It works when there's no door panel on it. And this is floating not that deep off from where the door panel is, but there's something about the way the door panel fits that causes a problem. And actually, now that I look at it, there's a little bit of rubbing right there. I guess I'm going to have to peel this back and trim some of that wood away to make that not quite so tight. I'm getting things done. I tried to get the paint off the front bumper here. I made it better, but it's been on there long enough that lacquer thinner doesn't want to touch it. So I was using the caramel wheel, which works, except the thing's worn out enough that the front edge is all curved down, so I can't just put it on the bumper because the whole front edge doesn't touch anymore. So I had to kind of do this, which still didn't touch. I can't do that because it hits the grill. So I haven't figured out the solution to that, but I got a little of it off, so that's at least a tiny improvement. I haven't polished the wheels on the other side because they haven't gotten dry enough. Every time I'll wipe them down, wait for them to dry, and then another batch of rain will come through. Yeah, I don't know how much I'm actually going to accomplish today. The other thing I'm trying to decide is whether I'm bringing parts because I'm only going to be there for a few hours probably. So I don't know if it's worth loading everything, but at the same time, if I can unload a bunch of the extra parts I have, that would be good, because then they're not in my life, and I'm already a little bit of a hoarder if I don't pay attention to it. So I don't know. I haven't decided on that. All right, so I've ground this down here so that it's much thinner, so hopefully that rod that was rubbing there and getting jammed won't. Now I'm going to glue that back down, and I'm going to glue this end where the glue has failed. This panel is actually not too bad. There's a lot of panels where the glue has failed really badly. This one's not too bad, but this whole area completely failed. So I have to try and glue that back. Oh, and these... Yeah, I'm going to try and get the edges of this back down again, and then get it back on the van. All right, back in. Now the door locks properly. Let me not keep it locked, because I will lock my keys in or something. I never lock the doors, but it's good to have that functional if I need to. Especially because I would forget, if the driver's door didn't work, I'd remember that. But this door, I would never remember this one doesn't lock. So I'll just put all the screws back in. This is now all nice and clean again. Yes, there's visible wood. I didn't do a perfect job everywhere because this is the first time I ever upholstered anything. But it looks better now because the little flaps aren't hanging out. Alright, I re-glued the top of this one and the top of that one, which is interesting because I had to kind of peel the fabric back and fire it up in there. Got a little on the ceiling, but cleaned it right back off. Something that's been the case since I bought the van and I've been ignoring is this screen is busted. It tore where the little lock strip goes in to hold it in, and it's had some tape holding it on the whole time badly because this has been hanging off and whatnot. I have to take everything I've put on this door apart to change out this bit of screen. Also, I'd have to buy a whole roll of screen just to replace this little bit of screen. So I'm not going to do it properly, but I'm going to do a better job with some gaff tape. I'm going to trim all these things hanging off so it at least looks cleaner until I do bother to do it correctly or take the window out. Okay, I'm embarrassed how quickly that looks so much better. I could have done that a couple of years ago. So the big thing that I wanted to do was this ceiling panel. The glue is still good on it, but for the most part. It's actually starting to come off in a couple of places. But it didn't have enough support behind it, so it is now the support underneath, which is that coroplast stuff, is like it's sagged down or been misshapen by the heat. I'm not quite sure which. So this is hanging down, and then the one behind it, the glue is completely failed on the fabric, so the fabric is all hanging down. There's a single screw in the middle of it that's basically the reason the fabric is not horribly down. So I wanted to take both of these off and see if this one's actually warped or if it's just unsupported. There is a strengthening rib in the middle of this. There's obviously a strengthening rib over there because there's a screw in it, but they're impossible to hit because they're super narrow. So my plan was to pull these off, screw a piece of aluminum flat strap across, and then that would allow me to screw this up into that. And in the case of the back one, peel it off, re-glue it, do that, possibly swap them to different materials if this material is all warped. But I don't want to deal with that because I'm not sure how much this much moisture is going to affect this whole panel curing properly. Little spot stuff I'm willing to do because if it fails, whatever. It's no worse off than it was, but I don't want to go through all that effort to take this all down and redo it and put it all back up only to have it fail because it was too wet. So I don't think I'm going to get to that today, which is a bummer, but oh well. Alright, sometimes I overthink things and the old ways are the best ways. I was going on about not being able to get the paint off the bumpers. Hey, you know what works? A freaking razor blade. Here I am trying to like use chemicals and all this stuff, and like, no, it's chrome. You're not going to damage chrome in any meaningful way with a razor blade, but you will get the paint off, and you don't have to worry about, you know, damaging the paint near it or dripping chemicals where you don't want to. Like, I'm embarrassed that, like, look, that's all basically done. I just got to do a tiny bit of cleanup. But hey, you know, at least I'm going to get the paint off. But brain, you're a hell of a place to live sometimes. So I'm going to work on that. The nice thing is I can do this whether it's wet or not, so it doesn't matter about all the drizzle. All gone from front bumper. That's all now nice and clean. Same thing in the rear. And while I was at it in the rear, I took all those old stickers off this bumper. But yeah, I took all the stickers off because I realized they're cool bits of history, but they're not. This van's cool bits of history, so I think it's better to not have them on there. But now this is all nice and clean. All right, another little improvement. So when I painted the bottom half of the van, I also painted this area because there was a big rust thing there. It's quick and dirty, but one of the big things of it was the work I did to seal the rust dripped down over the good paint and then left marks in it, and all attempts at compound and whatnot have failed. So I just went in with all the marks from that. There was some up here, there's some over here, and there's some over here, and 2000 grit, just wet sanded all of that, cleaned it up. Once this has dried, I'm going to go in with some compound out the 2000 grit scratches, and hopefully this area will just look a little cleaner because there won't be like drips as clearly visible. Like they're still kind of there, but they're not as bad, I think. And I think with the compounding after having sanded, they'll be even less visible. All right, well, the sun's come out again really nice, but I managed to kind of cook myself because all the times I was out when it was kind of overcast, I still kind of overdid it. So I'm going to take a little break inside. I might come back out and work on this today, or tomorrow morning before I go to the show. I might do the last couple of, like, polish that side, clean those two wheels, and vacuum out the interior. But I did get some stuff done, so that's good. Alright, I'm cooled off. It's cooled off out here. Fortunately, while it hasn't rained again, it's still damp. But I'm going to do the best I can with this. So I'm going to come in, wipe this all down, probably with Prepsol, just because that'll we'll get all the gunk off. And then come in and try and give this a polish and hope I can get that looking good. And then I have the wheels on the other side to do. And then I finally had a chance to go on and ask and found out that yes, people sell at these van things. And like there's vendors, but it's also just totally cool to bring stuff in your van and try and, you know, sell it to people. So I'm gonna load up a bunch of stuff that I've got laying around that I don't need, see if I can clear up some space, get a little bit more money in the Dumb Idea Fund. That's going to include the original 95 bumpers for this. I've got a couple other early bumpers, but not the kind that I've, like, look at some painted ones, stuff like, there's a lot of random stuff. So I'm going to load that all in tonight so that I have it to go to the show tomorrow. Alright, not sure how well it's going to show up in the dark, but this is all good now. It's nice and polished. All the sanding marks are gone. The drool marks are gone. So it is definitely an improvement. It's not perfect because this paint and this paint are single stage of this color and do not match. But it's way better. It's definitely a distinct improvement. There was a little bit more of that residue over here, so you might have seen me wet sand that real quick. So that's at least, that looks respectable. I'm happy with that. Alright, I think I'm done for the night. I polished the other two wheels, so those are all set, and loaded up the van, and once I started collecting it, I have a lot more crap than I thought. 95 bumpers, a not as nice front bumper is the one I got off that motorhome up in New Hampshire. A set of painted early bumpers, also got them off a different van in New Hampshire. That trip wasn't interesting enough to film. And then just stuff, so much stuff. A bunch of this is from my van, like my headlights. This was my grille surround, dash surround, the blue, interior pieces before I swapped it all over, that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of it. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch too. I'm sure when I get home, I'm going to be like, oh, God damn it, I meant to bring whatever. But if I can get rid of this stuff, I'll be super happy. Because none of this I have any use for right now. And I'd rather not just store it on the off chance. I'd rather go to somebody else who's going to use it. The tarp to lay it out on. I got some tape and markers to put some prices on it. Or at least identify it. I think that's the main thing I'm actually going to be doing, is identifying stuff so people know what the hell they're looking at. I got a shade pop-up. I got a couple chairs. I got a cooler that's going to go between the two front seats that I need to load up with ice in the morning. I think at this point I should wash the damn van, but it's probably going to rain again tonight, so it seems kind of pointless. I might wash it on the way. I can't put tire dressing on the tires because they're wet. So I think I'm done. I think this is as far as I can get. It's the next day, and we're supposed to be heading to the van thing, and it is pouring rain. Supposedly, where we are going, it is not raining, and is not supposed to rain all day, so let's hope like hell the weather forecast is correct there. Alright, so we made it. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we got checked in, we got our wristbands, so I guess I'm gonna just do a quick cruise around, because I want to see what's here. And then I gotta find some place to park, and then I'm gonna go look around. So we walked around a little bit, but it is brutal hot, so we're now chilling by the van. Got all the parts laid out. I don't think I'm going to sell much of anything because, well, about a quarter of the people here seem to have headed off to the pub crawl. There's definitely a lot of like party and drink culture, which is not something I do, so I'm definitely missing out on some of the experience here. But it's still kind of a neat thing to be at. There's some amazing vans, as I'm sure you saw in that previous video. So yeah, we're just going to kind of chill. We might go for another walk later once we've had a chance to cool off. But yeah, I'm having fun. I don't know that I'm going to go to the next one in Minnesota. I don't think this is enough my scene to be worth that. But it's definitely something I'm glad I showed up for. So it turns out the heavy hauling folks are here. I managed to get another set of the floor mats because you can't see from here, but the driver's side one is melted from the exhaust pipe. So that's gonna be great once I finally do the exhaust, and then I got that plate just because I think it's cool. We're gonna head out and do another round of looking at vans now that it's cooled off a little bit. And that's it for us at the Van Nats. Unfortunately, the heat's getting to both of us, so we're not going to stay because we still got a 2-hour drive home. But I'm glad I came. Not entirely my scene, but I'm glad I came. It's cool to see all the vans and stuff. And I may go to local van shows as a result of this. But yeah, it was interesting. I always like seeing new things, so it's definitely worth it. That's going to be it for now. Talk to you later. Bye.